everyone! Thank you for joining me this evening for our Engage Cozy Time, the time where we read storybooks together. So how much snow did you all get today? We got quite a lot. In fact, you should have seen my chickens and my ducks enjoying, or not enjoying, the snow. And my dog was running around and it was very funny. My children went sledging, so I'd love to hear what you all got up to today. I went outside sledging for a little while, well, watching the sledging for a little while, and then I sat inside with a cup of hot tea because my toes got very cold in my welly boots. Anyway, my lovelies, we are going to read a story together. We're going to read another Mr. Man story because these are some of my favourite books, and we haven't read this one yet. Mr. Funny and the Magic Lamp. Now thinking about it, I should have tried dug out a book about snowy weather. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow because I bet there is some snow on the ground tomorrow. So we will incorporate some kind of snow theme into our Advent study tomorrow. And don't forget to check in tomorrow at 5 o'clock for our last Advent study. Okay. Mr. Funny and the Magic Lamp. Now, as I've told you before, this is a series of books called Mr. Men. There's some on the back here, but there are lots and lots of Mr. Men books. And there are also Little Miss books with girls being the main character instead of just the boys. And we have a Mr. Man book tonight, so the next Mr. book I read, I'll make sure it's a Mrs. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. These are always quite funny. Mr. Funny lives in a teapot. A teapot house. How ridiculous, I hear you say. But it suited Mr. Funny right down to his spout. Now, one day last spring, Mr. Funny discovered an old trunk in his attic, which is under the lid. His attic's under the lid of the teapot. And in the trunk, he found a carpet. A carpet that gave him a surprise. For it was a magic carpet. A magic flying carpet. Mr. Funny was very excited. There and then, he decided to go on a trip to see where the magic carpet would take him. So on that spring morning, he set off on an adventure. I love adventures. Let's see what happens on the next page. Mr. Funny flew over Lazyland, where he woke up Mr. Lazy with a very loud raspberry. That's when you go... See what he's doing in that picture? Very loud raspberry and a funny face. Mr. Lazy laughed so much he fell out of bed. Mr. Funny and his magic carpet flew over Fatland, where Mr. Funny made Mr. Skinny laugh. He laughed so much he tripped over a daisy and dropped the breadcrumb he was carrying for his picnic lunch. Silly. Here he is tripping over a daisy and he's dropping his breadcrumb for his lunch. I bet you all eat more than just a breadcrumb for lunch. My children would eat a whole loaf of bread. And they flew over Cold Land, where Mr. Funny made Mr. Sneeze laugh. He laughed so much that he stopped sneezing. See? I told you these are funny books. The magic carpet flew on and on. They flew over mountains and valleys and over the sea. Finally, they arrived in a desert. But there was nobody there. Nobody to laugh at Mr. Funny's funny faces. Then, just as he was about to leave, Mr. Funny saw something half buried in the sand. It was a lamp. What "What a grubby old lamp," he said to himself, and he gave it a rub. There he is with his lamp. Can you guess what's going to happen? Oh my goodness, look at that! Suddenly, with a clap of thunder and in a cloud of smoke, a genie appeared in front of Mr. Funny. What a surprise! Which was all very exciting. But what Mr. Funny noticed most of all was how miserable the genie looked. Mr. Funny had never seen anyone look so unhappy. "Master," said the genie glumly, "I am the genie of the lamp, and I appear before you to grant you 3 wishes." To the genie's surprise, Mr. Funny pulled one of his famous funny faces. But the genie did not laugh. He did not chuckle. He did not even smile. Not a flicker. Goodness, what's happening here? "Oh dear," said Mr. Funny. It was going to take a bit more than a funny face to cheer up this genie. Then he had a thought. "For my first wish, I wish for a piano-playing elephant." "As you command, master," said the genie. And then before you could say broken piano stool, a piano-playing elephant appeared before them. Mr. Funny roared with laughter. It was hilarious. Excuse me. But it was not funny enough to make the genie laugh. He looked just as glum as before. Mr. Funny had another thought. "For my second wish, I wish for a mouse." And before you could say squeak, a mouse appeared. See the little mouse? And as Mr. Funny, and you probably know, a great big elephants are frightened of teeny mice. The elephant trumpeted in fear and jumped on top of the piano, which broke under the elephant's weight. Mr. Funny laughed with delight. "Now that was funny," said Mr. Funny. "Not really," said the genie, who looked just as unhappy as before. "You are a gloomy fellow," said Mr. Funny. "You would be too," said the genie, "if you had to live in that lamp." "Must be a tight squeeze," admitted Mr. Funny. "You can say that again," grumbled the genie. "There's no room to even cough living in a lamp." It's funny it says that because I'm trying not to cough right now. I have a tickle in my throat. Maybe that's Mr. Funny. Oh, look at this. "I live in a teapot. A very comfortable teapot, mind you," said Mr. Funny. And then yet another thought struck him. "For my third wish, I wish your lamp was a house." And before you could say, "Bring me a builder," the genie's lamp had turned into a house. Wow. The genie smiled. Only a flicker of a smile, but at least a smile. "That's more like it," said Mr. Funny. "Now, how am I going to get this elephant back to my home? I know. I wish—" "I'm sorry," interrupted the genie. "You've used your 3 wishes." So Mr. Funny and the elephant had to squeeze onto the magic carpet for their ride home. It was quite a sight. Rather funny, in fact. Look at the picture. So funny, the genie roared with laughter. Let's go back to the picture and look. Would you laugh if you saw an elephant on a flying carpet with Mr. Funny riding the elephant Who is riding the carpet with a mouse on top? And then the genie laughing and laughing. I'm so glad we got to see a happy genie at the end of our story. Mr. Funny and the Magic Lamp. So if you find a magic lamp, boys and girls, remember to take care of the genie when the genie comes out and says, what 3 wishes? I wonder what your 3 wishes would be. In fact, I'm going to go and think about what my 3 wishes would be. If you only had 3 wishes in the world, what would they be? That's quite the question. Okay, my lovelies, I had a great time spending time with you this evening. Make sure you tune in tomorrow at 5 o'clock for our Children's Advent study. And remember that on Saturday we have our Kids Club Christmas party, which each and every one of you are invited to. Go onto our website for more details and make sure you sign up beforehand. But it's our Kids Club party at 7 o'clock on Saturday. Okay, everyone, I will see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Remember, I love each and every one of you. If you ever need to talk to me, or have any questions, concerns, anything at all, there's nothing too little, nothing too big. Contact me anytime. You can find my information on the website also, graceumc.org. All right, my lovelies, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Cheers and good night.